Hello, people out there in the universe of the internet. How are you all doing today? I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Feeling a little bit better today, a little less lightheaded. Alhamdulillah. Today, well, as you can see here, my title is Don't Talk to Claire. You'll see for yourself. And there's a couple things I've just wanted to kind of touch up on, and maybe somebody who's going down the rabbit hole and is curious about different solutions that are out there. And I'm sure we're all in that phase, but I remember there's this video of a Canadian prepper. It says, uh, be wary of those who claim to be absolutely right, as they don't necessarily offer any actionable solution. They just get high off of their own theories, and in a time of crisis, all of the followers who don't necessarily question much tend to follow them. And I think Claire Khaw fits this perfectly, in that she won't admit when she's wrong. She basically will throw you under the bus if she perceives you as being divisive or not as palatable for the public. And these things are kind of evident when you talk to her, even on the comments section below my last video. We're talking about, she just said something about the liberal Gentile elite. Now, she mentioned that obviously those are people out there who are very jealous of the liberal Gentile elite, in that they're obviously there's resentment there, there's envy for the positions that they hold. And I was basically saying, I wouldn't necessarily say that. There's a lot of people who respect Donald Trump, and it's not just because of his wealth, but it's because of his merit, which is kind of an Aryan ideal. And I mentioned Justin Trudeau as a liberal elite, and mentioned, well, Justin Trudeau is lacking in leadership qualities. He has really dropped the ball on dealing with this crisis, and assuring the Canadian people, the measures that they're taking in order to combat this crisis. Basically, all he said was just stay home. I don't know about you, but it's quite frustrating when your leader of your country is basically full down and very absentee for a time like this. Whereas Trump is the exact opposite in handling this situation. Now, what is a liberal elite? I'm not quite sure what she means, but she kind of makes this snarky comment saying, I wasn't talking about Justin Trudeau. Well, what are you talking about? Mark Zuckerberg, George Soros, Alan Greenspan? All of these people are, I guess, rich and high status, and would be regarded as admirable characters, but are disliked for a good reason, and it's not envy. And she seems to have missed that distinction, and I think she basically just misrepresents what people are actually saying about the elite and how they're undermining their society. And it's kind of like this Freudian thing, like, oh, you're mad at the elite and what they've done because you're an incel, or you're living in a matriarchy, and therefore you're mad at this or that person. I'm like, these people need to be held to account to their actions, and it seems like she's inadvertently defending these people. And so that's one thing. Another thing here is just the cowardice and the hypocrisy. Like the whole idea of we espouse some unpopular idea that goes against the grain, and you're doing stuff that it's I don't know what. I don't think she's actually serious. I think she just likes streaming a lot, and I don't know where her mind is. I'm trying to get her to get to a position, and it seems like she wants to snake around you or call you these names, and ad hom you, and so it kind of like lately she's been saying that, oh, because I'm going to alienate the white race by being Muslim. It's like, no, like being white and being liberal and being Christian, like you can be anti-West and anti-liberal, doesn't mean you're anti your own people. And I've come to recognize this, and it seems that she wants this secular system in place, which is based off of religious ideals and religious practices, and has a lot more dedication than just being mouthpieces for certain values you like in the Quran that actually contradict your own liberal human rights outlook on things. Like, at least with white nationalists, they're, where they stand, but here it's like, well, yeah, I'm for whipping sluts, and I'm here for restoring the patriarchy. And then on the other hand, you're like, oh no, you're alienating some people from the right or from the left or whoever. Like, it's like you're into politics. Yeah, that's the thing is, yeah, they love the West too much. Like, there's this Russian group that it's a Christian group that's actually, I don't know if I want to say, but they've been recognized as a terrorist group by the United States intelligentsia. I'm actually just going to pull them up here. I think I posted it today. Just let me see here. All right. Oh, the Russian Imperial Movement is designated as a terrorist group. I'll just show you guys what I'm talking about here. All right. So this is them here. I don't know if you guys can get sound, but I don't know if StreamYard has that. So this guy basically, yeah. So this is like a Christian movement. out of Russia, and they basically, what they want is they want Europe and the West to go back to its roots, Christian roots, and these guys are basically fighting in the name of Jesus. It's quite an interesting development. Muslims can fight in the name of Jesus as well too. Yeah, they really are white supremacies. Yeah. So yeah. So I guess I'm alienating. Yeah. Again, like, I have nothing against Christians. Like you could see by the name here, Jesus is a prophet of Allah. Maybe I have disagreements with Christians, but I don't view them as disingenuous. I like, they genuinely believe what they believe, right? They're not shysters or they're not manipulators, like some people we know, like in the video of this title here. So yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly on if anybody else wants to come in. I see a couple people in the chat here. I'll put the link in the stream here. If anyone wants to join me, put it in the chat. See if anyone wants to join me here. But yeah, the way I view things, and maybe this is probably where we fundamentally kind of drifted apart. Other than her dishonesty, that's a whole nother thing too. I think I've already touched that already in the beginning of the video. Is that I look at things this way: is like, if you want a stable family structure, you obviously need an economic system to support such things. So if you don't, people are incentivized to do other things. Like, if you think about it, it's actually more profitable for divorce to happen. Like, kind of see it myself. Like, somebody gets divorced, they're getting a new house, they need to buy, new stuff, furniture, TV, all that stuff, and so that's more GDP in the economy. So all these like liberal elites, these liberal Gentile elites, are for that. They're anti-family, and I guess I'm just so envious of them, and I wish I was them. That I criticize them on the fact that they only care about GDP and tax revenue. They don't necessarily care about down the future. Now, it's kind of weird that me and Claire have divided off, but because probably agree on probably 80%, I would say, on things, but it seems like I don't think that's not necessarily. I think she just wants like a YouTube channel and just keep the the Jerry Springer show going, and she doesn't necessarily see me as something that's really doing much for her now. And so, I mean, screw it. I mean, I didn't come on there to be a popular title. I came on here to voice my opinion. It seems like YouTube's let me on, so I'm on here and I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. But yeah, I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Didn't want to keep it too long. I think my relationship with Claire, it's kind of fascinating, isn't that she views me as like this outsider or this, I don't know. It's like I said earlier, you have to be wary of people who claim they have the absolute whole truth and nothing but the truth. And anyone who challenges them is is ignorant um, and is ill-founded, and like, it's just yeah. I mean, guys, I'm gonna say this. Just go check out her channel. Maybe talk to her, have a conversation with her. If you know a little bit about politics, check her out. You'll see for yourself. It's quite frustrating having a conversation with her. It's not a serious conversation. It's really a waste of time. The energy and resources that go into it, especially when she doesn't respond back when you ask her to clarify on these things. But yeah, so that's basically it. I think still trying to. It's weird, like when you're speaking, it doesn't come out as crisp as if you're going to write it down or have it in your journal. But maybe I should write it down, a script or something, and read it out. I don't know, next time. But that's basically my thoughts anyway. I mean, yeah, I just want to leave it at that. I'm more of a person that just, I don't want to dwindle in these things. I don't want to get into toxic relationships. No, I mean, she doesn't understand Islam, that woman. Yeah, she wants people to disavow Jesus. Like, she doesn't understand Islam at all. Like, she doesn't. It's ridiculous. Maybe that's why she hates me now, because I actually understand it, and it would be bad for her brand. So, yeah. Yeah, it's quite for lack of knowledge, and she's bragged about not reading too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm good for a debate, but um, these ad hom fallacies and these kind of snarky attacks, it's just like, what's the point? What's the point of even going on her video and start talking to her? It's just going to be the same thing over and over and over again. She doesn't watch, really. I mean, she'll acknowledge you for a little bit, and then after a while she'll just kind of ignore you in the chat. But I mean, she's let me on a couple of times in the show just because I was bored. I wasn't necessarily talking to her directly. I might have said some couple of things that was made me suspicious, so she might be a Fed. But I mean, a lot of people are on here, and it's a mainstream platform, and to not ask that question would be kind of silly. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say I get like paranoid, like, that person's a Fed, that person's a Fed, that person's a Fed. But if you kind of look at their actions and how they're arguing against you, I mean, if you feel like it's a waste of time, don't bother with it. It's kind of like in school where you taught, somebody is trying to get a rise out of you, and they don't really, care about solving the issue. It's just like, just move on. If they're not really like a threat to you, like physically, just move on. That's all I care. She lives like across the pond. She's a little old lady, not really a threat to me. So she's fun to talk to. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Howman. Yeah. I'm not saying like do what you want. I don't care, but um I mean, it's entertainment. I mean, I'm on there sometimes just when I'm bored, especially with the quarantine now. I've been on there, but I haven't been on there in a while. The whole Israel thing, she has, like, again, she doesn't understand the religious implications of Jesus and Islam, as well as the greater support of Israel. Yeah, she really fumbles on that. It's like, well, first she says Muslims have to give dawah to Jews, and then you can have the greater city of Israel, but it'd be like the Muslim state. It'd just be a Muslim, it'd be like a secular state like Syria. And so I was like, okay, I mean, that's get it. But now it's like the greater state of Israel must be fulfilled, and then Muslims can give dawah to the Jews. And I'm like, what gives you the theological justification say that the Muslims have to let the Jews get their greater state of Israel. She quotes like a verse, and and the boundaries are not clear on what the Jews dwell in the land. Um, and she quotes that one verse. Time is up for them. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that Christianity and Islam is very similar in that outlook. Like Jews have all this time to recognize that there is prophets of God, and then they espouse wisdom, and they fundamentally eject it. Even the Orthodox Jews still don't believe that there's been a prophet. And I believe that the Gentile religions are a lot more believable than Judaism. He says, well, because they derive from Judaism, it's like this like obligation they have to them. Fucking what obligation? They've been thousands of years. Jews have kind of made up this story like, oh, we've been persecuted all these times, and now we're going to have our greater state of Israel. We're going to have heaven on earth just for us, and all of the goyim, they're all going to be willing slaves for us, and it's going to be fantastic for us, not for everybody else. And then there's that fundamental difference between Judaism and the Gentile religion, the Islam and Christianity. That Islam and Christianity, like Christianity, do unto self as you do unto others. Is that taught in Judaism? Not really emphasized a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. It's just we're at a time right now. It's like could go nuclear, could not, but I don't see humanity coming all together at once and saying kumbaya. But I think there is some alliances out there that we can make. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what the state of Israel, like, when Gentiles make up a nation, they make up with the ideal for their people and the values they have, and being diplomatic towards other nations. And obviously, there is going to be some conflict between Gentile nations, but usually they work to an understanding. Like it might not be forever peace, but you can come to a conclusion one way or the other. With Jews, it's like the exact opposite. Like the state of Israel wasn't formed out of Judaic principles. It was based off of more Zionist principles. And for you to say that, oh well, if oh, we got somebody on here. Yo, what's up?
Yo, what's up, John? See, you don't have many viewers, so I think I'd pop in. See how.
Oh yeah, no, this is actually a good stream. So yeah, I think it's because I'm like title. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just talking about the history of Israel and how it was formed, and how that's really important into if you're going to advocate for policies such as the Greater Israel.
Right.
And what I'm basically saying is that the state of Israel, it wasn't made for like Judaic principles, like the idea of Judaic principles. It was more like Zionist kind of coup that for anybody who might be in trouble, in like any Jews that might be in trouble in any Gentile land, like if they're pedophiles or if they got caught for corruption, anything like that, they would go to Israel, and that'd be like their safe haven. Or pedophiles. Seem to be a lot of Jewish pedophiles as well too. Like the whole Epstein thing. I think of just Jews are just riddled with that.
Well, do you think?
I'm not saying that Gentiles. Like I'm not saying that there's. I'm trying to be fair. Like I'm not saying that Gentiles are innocent of this, but usually like they would have to feel the brunt of it because they don't have anywhere else to escape to.
So are you one of those people that think that Epstein did not die and somehow he escaped to Israel?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I'm saying like people who are connected to Epstein definitely use Israel as kind of like there's a lot of sex trafficking that goes on in Israel. Um, I think also the Russian mafia has some ties with Israel as well too. Um, so, uh, but the thing is though, like Israel, like Jews, like they don't have like that's what I'm saying is like their evolutionary strategy is different from that from like the Gentile Christian and Muslim. Like the Gentile Christian and Muslim believe in an afterlife, and so therefore that encourages different behavior as opposed to a Jew who wants a heaven on earth and wants to manipulate people into worshiping his mode of slavery for payback for thousands of years of injustice towards them.
Hmm. Well, I think heaven on earth is the right approach. Although I don't believe in heaven myself, since I'm an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in social justice. I believe that uh, the concerns of this earth are more important than the concerns of some afterlife, which may or may not exist. You know, that's my opinion.
Yeah, the thing is though, like the concept of the afterlife, what it does is it promotes self-sacrifice. So instead of sacrificing just for you know your own kind of material, you said you're an atheist, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where do you get your morality from? Like, I have a trouble with atheists is that they like anything from a standpoint from me is that so how can you say that you're an atheist if you believe in like human rights such as do unto others as you like to do unto yourself? How could you like you still derive from Christian principles, but yet you're not a Christian? Would you say like you're culturally Christian or not?
No, no, it's not Christian or Jewish. It's humanistic. It's
Mm-hmm.
something universal to any, I think, any really good religion, whether it's Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, or even secular humanism, which I consider myself more like a secular humanist. So I'm not really, I believe it stems from these universal values of human justice. And I mean, maybe has a religious connection, sure, but I think it transcends any kind of particular religious practice or belief.
Mm. So when you think though, if you lose that kind of religious connection, when you just delve into radical individualism and basically I'm out for myself, and anybody who doesn't agree with me or makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to backstab them and call them a lunatic or whatever.
Oh, sorry, I gotta take this call. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
All
okay,
right. All right.
I'll mute you. Thank you. Interesting. No, I'm not saying my vote. I'm not saying what you call it. Yeah, democracy is stupid. I'm just trying to make a point about how um, how believing in an afterlife creates self-sacrifice and a society that thinks for the next generation. Because I think what we're lacking now is I think we're lacking a system that thinks in this way. I think China is probably the closest that we have in Russia, and that they think, more than just 4 years ahead, unlike our democracy. Um, it's a shame that Christianity and democracy are linked together. I don't think that's necessarily true. My vote, yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, politics is like it's not like a popularity contest. And, you said this, or um, you said this that made me uncomfortable, or you did this that made me uncomfortable. It's just like, well, fuck, like, so good luck building your factories. Foxconn, their costs are too high. They refuse. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's yeah. A lot of companies don't want to. I mean, I would like Trump to do more. What should I call it? More sanctions or more tariffs, I guess, to China for this debacle. Just to the point where, like, it's kind of like a trade war already, and I would just like, just to escalate it. You know, I think on that level, on a state level, that's probably what you can get done. Um, on like a local level, probably focus on being self-sufficient. Um, it'd be hard to get off the currency, but I don't know. I don't know how the currency is going to stay afloat. It's probably going to go to some cryptocurrency with this outbreak now. I don't know if the financial system can recover. So we're probably going to enter in a recession, a different type of recession, though. I don't know if it'd be a depression. We'll wait and see. But moving east. Oh, they're moving to China. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like China and what they stand for, but the West pretty much gave all its factories and manufacturing to China because it's cheaper. Now the Chinese have a middle class, and now they want to stake in their game, and they really want to do what they can to, yeah, Confucianism. The thing is with Confucianism, it's not like a like an ideal. Uh, it's basically like we're going to start an empire by manipulation through commercial means, and we'll extend that to political means as much as necessary. Yeah, fuck China. I don't like China. Claire's from China. I, the, I don't know. From what I understand from Confucianism, it's kind of anti-Western. It's very merchant values. I know you guys like. Yeah, it's a managerial ideology though. It's yeah, could yeah. From what I understand though, Confucianism is I don't know. I don't think it's strong enough, but I don't know why I'm getting some China shells here. Maybe are you guys feds? Yeah, I think there's a reason why I think China left this flu out because it really decimated their economy and they weren't a strong player. But now, now they're depleting the West so that they won't be. They'll be more even ground, I guess. They wouldn't lose as much ground as they did with the flu. Uh, so I mean, they had plenty of opportunity to close it, and they didn't. And they hit their numbers. They don't actually report, the actual cases they have. So it seems like they're dealing with this better than the U.S. Even though I guess Trump did what he could to shut down flights from China, but yeah, no, I'm shameless in that. I don't want China. I wouldn't care if Russia took over the West, but they're not as big of a player as China. And for what China stands for, because the U.S. Yeah, yeah. It's very effective. Anti-China propaganda is very effective. Yeah, they want to build the Silk Road. That's yeah. They want to be self-sufficient along with Europe. So um, it's kind of complicated because U.S. still technically owns some European countries, but they're not really taking that seriously anymore. They have bases everywhere, but um, yeah, they both same. Yeah, crashed economy. The thing is, I don't get about the one world government is that how would I'm just kind of shooting from the hip now a little bit with this stuff, but I haven't really broken into it. But it's not China's fault though. It's awful. Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's China's self-interest. So digital. The other thing about the vaccines, um, they're talking about like putting out like a chip into it, and so if you have to like for you to go travel like on an airplane, you have to be scanned, and the chip will say that you had the vaccine and you're cured of the coronavirus. Um, that's the thing. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm kind of mumbling on a little bit, but these are just kind of things that are out there. Um, but yeah, so it's basically the moral of the story is, people think for yourself. I'm not going to get too much into the accept democracy. Okay. Yeah. It's all interesting stuff. I think our governments really are really dropping the ball on this, and maybe the one thing that's going forward is anti-China propaganda. But other than that, I'm not really pro-Western per se. Um, yeah, yeah, no. So I'm saying, like any vaccine nowadays, I'm really skeptical about. Um, we're basically kind of all guinea pigs to this, but um, yeah, interesting times. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I like to do reading, um, maybe work out, but I hope you guys are all staying safe out there. Uh, Social distancing as much as you can. Maybe except if you're in India and you watches this. Sorry about that. Hope you get through this. Yeah, Western. Yeah, I mean, it's like I can agree upon something, but I don't necessarily mean that I support it. I, I the anti-China thing. I think there is some merit to that, but the thing is, though, Western governments have done a horrible job of Chinese influence, even not just the media, but the economy. Um, Especially with Canada, BC, like in the coast of Vancouver, everything is unlivable. The price of living is skyrocketing, um, basically because of Chinese capital and speculation. Build up all these kind of cheap apartments, especially in Toronto. Toronto is probably the worst when they just build up these cheap apartments and build them as quick as they can, profit as much as they can, and just leave them for the people to fix them. Like they just basically do the bare minimum for safety measures, and it's not really a long-lasting building. The story that comes to mind is the Tower of Babel, and then also Islam also shares the same sentiment as well. When the end of times is when humans try to build up to the heavens, and um, everything starts crumbling down, and there's division and chaos. And I think there's some truth to that. And it's amazing that the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet Jesus were to foresee that um, as something happened when they have lived in a time when it was basically bare land. Um, yeah, so it's quite amazing. Um, yeah, sorry for that guy for being atheist. I think atheism is quite. I want to. What? Chinese apartments are actually quite sturdy. That's the weird thing. Is like, they'll do one thing to one country and then they'll practice another. They're kind of Jews in that way. They want to be Jews. That's the thing. Um, it's not really a viable long-term strategy. But then again, a lot of the empires fall and build back up again. But who knows? It's a different way of doing things. Survival of the fittest, different strategies. But everything doesn't last forever. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So, atheist. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It seems that he lives in a time when you got secular thought roaming through, and it's basically just a product of his environment, where no one's going to really fundamentally question his morals. The thing is, I have with atheism is it kind of disconnects you from any sorts of practice. I think religious practice is very important. Keeps you grounded, keeps you living for something more than yourself. And the whole idea of heaven on earth is very skeptical to me. That doesn't mean. I guess there's two ways I could just pull like heaven on earth. Heaven on earth for me, or not for thee. That's one negative way, and then they have another negative way you look at it. Like somebody thinks of the afterlife, and they're just a shitty person in this life. They have kind of a cheap out. That's kind of, I guess maybe some people hate Christians for that, and just pray upon Jesus, the cross. You repent of your sins, and you will be saved. Um, there is more to it than that. I think that in itself is kind of a falsehood in a way of what the Abrahamic God was actually saying. I'm not against Jesus. I'm just saying, worshiping him as the Son of God. How could you say something that's eternal is has something that is finite? It doesn't make any sense. So that's my only knock for Christians. And it's weird as she'll say, Claire will say, well, how come you're Muslims? It's your duty to tell Christians that that they're idolatrous. And then once you actually do that, she just kind of runs out of things. Well, you're with brown people now. You're you're alienating your own people. Like, yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't look at it that way. I'm trying to bring the two faiths together, and I think there is some validity, even if the Bible is not necessarily from the true source. There is a lot of similarities between the Bible's story and the Quran story, and the concepts of good and evil. Maybe they might be a little bit different, but they're quite similar in that way. But what can I say? I think if Jesus were to come today, he would probably become Muslim, and he would shame all the Christians for the lack of morality that they've been failed to uphold in the society. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I get that there's this animosity between Christian and Muslim, and Muslims like do these horrible things, but Christians did horrible things to each other too. So, I mean, come on, guys, let's just not make this a liberal body count thing. Let's try to get together. Let's try to understand. We might have some differences, but again, we probably have more similarities and differences, and we have common causes. We have a common enemy, and I'm here to kind of unite Christians and Muslims together under this one roof against this evil that's trying to attack us, which is secular liberal morality, which says that there's human rights, and who's to say that you have to have transgender people in your mosque because it's a religious duty? Who says that? It's a secular morale intellectual that tells you these things. And mosques are getting attacked for this too. So I think it's time that Christians and Muslims stand up together and realize that they have a lot more in common. And call out the bad Christians and the bad Muslims that do horrible, evil things. Sure, I'm against that. But at the same time, you gotta be held responsible for what you say and what you do. And I think that's where we're feeling that today. So much of the internet wouldn't be without East Asian engineering. I'll have to get some sources from that. But anyway, I think I'm gonna head out here. I don't want to keep it too long, but I think that's what I'm basically about here. So, all right, guys. Peace out. Sorry, thank you, Gil, for hopping on here. It looks like you had to take a phone call, but yeah, just want to get that out there. All right, peace out, guys.